The magic to this is, because I've played with this a lot, and I've seen some people that were like, oh my goodness, this changed my life. And then other people who were like, yeah, it was kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, I did bad, like I'm a horrible person. That's not the sorry. It's an empowered sorry. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. It's that simple. Today, I want to talk a little bit about it. It's a very simple process, but even what Sean was talking about, that you can use it in the moment of a heated argument, okay? So let's say someone's coming at you and they're being reactive. They're trying to trigger you, right? So those triggers, the process is very simple. It's simply 4 phrases, and it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Okay, so that's it. So I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Okay, now the magic to this is, because I've played with this a lot, and I've seen some people that were like, oh my goodness, this changed my life. And then other people who were like, yeah, it was kind of lame. So I was like, well, what's the difference? Those people who actually get results and those who don't. And it comes down to everything, allergies and addictions. So if somebody has a push or a pull towards it, it's not going to work very good. But if you're in a state where your intention's really pure, it can be a very powerful process, okay? So how do you do it? I like to look at it like this. If I'm here, and then I have this person over here, whether I see them or I don't, they have their own energetic space to them, right? And so do I. The whole theory is that if I say these phrases, I can tune in to them and do the work for them and work through their stuff regardless of me or them. So when I do this work, and he kind of describes it like this, to where it's not just to them, to you. He talks about it as there's a universal or God source that it's like this. So when he's doing the work, he's tuning into this pain, this energy, tuning in, working on himself, but also going through God or universe. So it's, you feel the sensation of the reaction and you work through it with this intention that it's all connected. Okay? And I think that intention really matters. If you just do it this way, sometimes you can take things on, it can feel like it's your responsibility, like you have to save the world. But no, you're just a vessel in this process to say, hey, I can cleanse stuff, I can work through things, I'm not the source, but I'm just doing the work. Okay? Give glory to whoever you believe in. For me, I believe God is the one. So I tune in and I know that God's doing the work, but I'm actually he's the source, but I'm doing the work. I'm putting in the effort. So I tune in, and let's say somebody's being reactive. Now, one of my favorite experiences was when my wife and I were on a really epic date, and she started to say some things that were about me, and I got some triggers inside. So I just dropped into this process. And my state of being is this. When things are coming at me, I tune into where I feel it. My stomach got a little tense, my shoulders, I wanted to voice back, I wanted to fight, I wanted to defend, right? I wanted to protect myself. So these reactions that are wanting to come back, I tune into where they're at, and then I do this process. Because I'm picking up from this person what they're saying, and I tune into the location in my body, and I just go through, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And you just repeat it over and over and over. Now, you don't have to vocalize this out loud. It can be totally an internal thing. So when somebody was saying this, like my wife and I were at this date and she got reactive and then I started getting reactive. So I was like, okay, I'm sorry. And it wasn't that I'm sorry, because sorry is a really interesting one. People can use sorry as a negative, like I drop my energy because I'm sorry, like I'm sorry. And they just are sorry about everything. That's not the type of sorry. It's a sorry can be, I'm sorry, meaning I'm sorry for this non-ideal energy that this person has. I'm sorry that this energy is in you. I'm sorry that this is coming at me. And I'm sorry that I have one that wants to come towards you too. So it's this humbleness to say, I'm not in my ego. That's how I look at it, is like that sorrow is, man, I'm sorry for this non-ideal reaction here. It's not that I'm sorry I'm a bad person. I'm sorry I did you wrong. I'm sorry this. It's a sorrow for the energy frequency. And as I tune in and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I want to tune in and imagine that this is like a filter. So it's like God, them, me, going in this cycle. And it's like, I'm sorry for this energy that's here. And as I vocalize it and tune in, I'm sorry. I'm imagining that it's just being purified, kind of just moving, and it doesn't land, it doesn't stick to me, right? It just moves and then changes. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be transferred. So you want to imagine that it's just kind of like broken down and it just dissipates. It's like as soon as you say, I'm sorry, boom, it turns into just energy. Is this making sense at all? It's kind of an interesting game, and the more you can play with it, the easier it gets. Okay? So somebody says something reactive, and we're going to practice this. I'm going to show you how reactive I can be to some of you and trigger you. It'll be super fun. Virtual! It's going to be awesome. So I'm sorry, then please forgive me. So the forgiveness, I'm not really asking this person per se to forgive. It's I look at it as like, please forgive me, meaning this energy that's going on, the forgiveness, I tune in and say, God forgive me, this person and me. It's like a cycle. It's like, hey, this energy that's here that's not ideal, please forgive me for having this reaction, for responding to this reaction, for their reaction. Please forgive me. And for me, it's like a pattern interrupt. Forgiveness is really cool because what the circle of connection, you guys remember that? What part of is the circle of connection a part of? What part of is forgiveness? The circle of connection a part of? Likability, right? Yeah. So that likability, all of a sudden, because I'm seeking for forgiveness, I tune into this person, I tune into God, and I can feel closer and connected. That disconnection that's coming at me gets bridged, gets connected. Okay? So I'm sorry, please forgive me. The key here is not the victim state of sorry. Okay? I see that too often. So you got to be cautious of that. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Like I did bad. Like I'm a horrible person. That's not the sorry. It's an empowered sorry. Like I am sorry. And it works through it. I was taught kind of a disempowered sorry. Like it's my fault. I'm sorry. It's bad. Right? So check your definitions on these words. If you have a non-ideal connotation to it, be sure and switch that. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So gratitude is a very powerful vibrational frequency. So when you thank something, you no longer are fighting it. So the first two are interesting because it's like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. It's like a acknowledgement, I'm sorry, now acceptance. Then you come in with the basically like, hey, thank you. Like I acknowledge your presence. That gratitude bridges the gap of the distance of wanting to push something away. So if you have opposition, but you thank it, opposition coming at you, but you're grateful for it. You see, the more you resist opposition, the harder it gets. So if I'm ungrateful for the opposition, I hate the opposition, I fight the opposition, guess what the opposition does? It wins. It's going to be stronger than me. But as soon as I thank it, then I understand it and then I win because it has no power. When you're grateful for it, it takes the power from it. It's so cool. So that gratitude, tune in, thank you. And I look at it as I'm thankful for the whole process. I'm thankful that I don't have to solve this. I'm thankful that God can totally change this energy. I'm thankful for that person, for them being in my world. I'm thankful that I can tune into them and influence them and help them create what they want by changing me. It's a huge gratitude. I'm thankful that I have the ability to change, that I have the ability to influence, that I have the ability to not be a victim to this. I'm thankful. So that gratitude can expand as you repeat this. And then the final piece, I love you. Now, when you're saying I love you, you could say it to that person, you could say it to this, but go bigger than just that person, right? On all these words. Some people just like to this person and they don't find that it works as good. But if you do it to the whole process with that person involved, it tends to amplify it. So if I'm like, hey, I love you. I love this person. I love God. I love the whole ability to change. I love that I don't have to be reactive to this. I love that I don't have to be a victim. I love that they don't have to be a victim. I love that we have the power to influence people and change them completely. I love you. I love you. And that love sends out the signal to your body that, hey, I don't have to fight this. I don't have to resist it. I'm grateful for it. I'm thankful for it. And I love it. It's a very cool process when done well. Okay? So, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. It's that simple.
Hey, what's up? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you would like to learn more about what you just experienced or watched, then in the description, I actually have written a book called The Alignment Effect. And in the book, we go in details of how to align and the power inside of you. So if you'd like to learn how to get results a lot faster and reprogram not just your mind, but your cellular memory, then check out the description and grab that book called Alignment Effect. It will completely alter how you think and live your life.
Was it me? No, it was each and every one of you. So we all chose to do that. No one forced you. No one made you. You chose, which is freaking awesome.